And this is Cobb, and this is the first in our training series for the CPG web mapping application. It's on our network for those who are responsible for uploading the CPG or Stevens Grant, the spatial information. This will be the new procedure, and you can also create maps through our web mapping application and ArcGIS Online web maps. So we have an organizational account, and when you we'll send you the link, which you can save somewhere, that connects to the application, which is on our GFC Arc server. And you will need to be, since this is an internal web server, you'll need to be either on our network for the time being, and we're trying to get this address so that we can get on from the broader internet, and it will solve some of the login problems as well. But for now, you'll have to be on the network, or you can be have a VPN connection on the internet from any location. So we've established admin accounts in one for each district for those who are responsible for uploading the data, and I'm going to try to log into one of those now. You'll be given the login username and password from your district managers, and so that will be, you'll have this information for logging in. And when you log in, the application opens, and this is the application contains these data layers. You can look at the layer list here and see what's in there. So we have some spatial information that you can use that might be useful when you're filling in the reports when you initially enter the CPG or Stevens Grant burn into the database. When you're entering that information, and it asks you information about spatial data like CWPP status or the congressional district, those are all are layers in the map that you can query out and identify to find out which one of those districts or which one applies to the burn in question. So when we open this, we're going to upload this data through a system you're probably pretty familiar with. If you're collecting data from GPS, and I'm assuming that you're familiar with the procedure for collecting data and for bringing that data and the download in from the GPS unit. And if you need that type of training, if you're going to be uploading and you're not, that is offered in our that's a course that's in our training academy and for for the new employees. But if you didn't get that, or if you somehow you feel like you need a refresher, just let us know. Let me or Michael Torbett in Macon know, and he can set up a field training exercise for you to be able to give you some training in that regard. But I am going to go through the download procedure because it's a little bit different than what we have been doing. We'll just be generating KML files to work with our app, and the tool that we use is it only works with KML for the time being, and that's okay because we can convert these files back and forth between any number of formats. And the KML is a very convenient format because it's open source and it works in a lot of different applications. It works in Google Earth, and also it's a single file, whereas if you're generating something like a shape file, you have a number of files that have a number of components that all have to be together for the file to work right. So what we'll be doing is we'll be using DNR Garmin, which most of you are probably familiar with, is what we've been using to download data from the GPSs normally. So if you look at this one, we will be let's see if everything is okay in here. I think it is. Should be. So I'm going to connect via USB cable to a Garmin Model 60, which is not in use that much anymore. However, some people still have Garmin's, and they work with DNR Garmin. They actually you're able to interface directly with this program and download from the GPS unit. And if we make sure this port is set on USB, and then we open the port, we should be able to connect. You see it does. This is a GPS 60. We have our projection at NAT 83, UTM 17, so that should be okay as well. We are going to download track2. Most of you are familiar with this. So what happens when you do this is every one of your saved tracks and plus the active log is downloaded here. So it's a good practice, which I haven't done, and many of you may have a number of these saved tracks. Once you download a track to the computer, then you can delete this from your GPS unit, and it's easier if you only have one track to download, and you don't have to go through this part of the procedure that we're about to have to do now to remove the unwanted records from your from the file that you're going to actually convert to a KML. And so if we look here, looking at this ident field, so that's going to be the name that the track is saved under. If you look so you remember that the very top line was highlighted in light blue, and if you scroll down, if you click this, it scrolls down one page at a time, and you can see that there are other light blue, and the first record for every feature that's in here is going to be highlighted, and it'll also have a different ident name, the name that it was saved under. And so if we had one of these files in here we wanted to download, it would be named, obviously, probably be named something a little more meaningful and descriptive than just the date. But you would want to extract the parcel, the burn area of interest from the list of everything that's on the GPS, and that's just the way that DNR Garmin works with. So you'll have to do a little prep work. So, for example, if we wanted this 9th July, if this was our burn in question, then we have to select everything that was before it. So I remember I selected the one above it, and then I'm holding Shift to multi-select, and I use the delete selection. So now the first record is for July 9th, and if we go down and look for the next highlighted, which is this one here, if we take this one and go all the way down to the bottom, so all of the rest of those we're going to select, and then we're going to delete those as well, so that we're only left with our tract of interest in here. And then we're going to go to File and Save to a File, and we're going to name this file. Now, we recommend when you start to enter the burn into our CPG database on the intranet, it will generate a burn ID field, and that is what we're going to be tracking. This will be the unique identifier. So if you wanted to name this burn after the burn ID, that would be a very good idea and helps us keep up with it. Or you could name it by the landowner's name, or just but you're going to have to enter that burn ID information in our web mapping app anyway. So just to keep up with it, you may want to do that. And we're going to choose the KML format, as I said, is what we'll be using for the upload. And if we wanted to, this is a fictitious burn, so but we can just make up a burn ID, and we can save that. It's going to be a polygon, and so it has been written to the desktop. So if we wanted to upload this, all we have to do is use this upload tool in the app, and then we'll be going to the desktop, since that's where we saved it. We really should have saved it. Let's do this. Let's save it to a better location. And when you do save it, you don't just want to accept the default location. You can actually save it to some other, a better file place here. Alright, and so we're going to have a KML, and it's going to be named 2899. We'll save that as a polygon. Alright, so now we have it in a file. So you can make a file on your local computer, CPG folder, that contains all of these, all of your GPS information, as well as your the KMLs that you generate through DNR Garmin. So now let's look at that. This is the tool KML upload, and we can choose the folder. You see that our KML has been created right here, and when we open this, we'll see that it brings in the tract here. You can see it highlighted in black. And so our CPG layer, our common database, is this all CPG. We can check that, and what that does is it appends this feature here to the database, so that when you're done with this, you should have one more record in the table than originally there were. So you can check the table. There were 611 611. You can see there's 612 now. I've added one more, but so when we save this to the layer, then we'll see that it comes in right here. If you see it, this is our new tract. And so if we refresh the table, and we're seeing that there's 613 features now, because we just added this one to our list. So probably the first thing that you'll want to do when you upload these is make sure that that actually we have these buffers. These lines here are the 10-mile buffers. All of the eligible burns should be within these areas. So this burn here is right off the bat is having some problems because it's outside of that buffer. It wouldn't be eligible as a CPG burn, which I said that this was just a mock-up burn, just some data that I had in the GPS. But we can still work with it, and so we know first of all that it's not eligible for CPG. So we need to talk to, we need to get that straightened out. but here's our tract, and so if we look at this tract, so this is GPS data that's coming in, and what we'll need to do is enter at least some of the attribute information in here that's in the database. And so what I did was I went to the edit. This is the edit tool here, and it opens up this editor mode. We could actually digitize a new feature, but really that's not recommended. The only way you would do that is if you had some very clear, like a road, roads on all sides of your feature. You may be able to digitize in and make sure that you are accurate. But ordinarily it'll be GPS data, and that's really the recommended and the required the method for gathering this data. So when we're in edit mode and I click on this thing, we can edit the attributes in the table. And so for the burn ID, we need to put the burn ID that it was, and also maybe the landowner. And so you can enter any of this stuff that you know. We can enter from the form and wherever we can get this from. This is the field that's symbolized, where you can drop down whether it's a burn or a mastication type of treatment, and then all of the other ones here. So some of them are for our county. You won't ever have to fill those in, but the county, and we'll already know obviously the county because we have the spatial data. So but the burn ID is the most important. We can link everything else back to the burn ID if we have that, if we need to. So when you have this information entered here, then what we've actually done is added this. So this is the upload process. It's very simple. Just use DNR Garmin to convert the GPX data, or if you have a shapefile, it's the same process, except for when you bring in the file, you would select the shapefile to find all of the, and so then all the shapefiles would come up. Bring in the shapefile, and then you could output it as a KML polygon. So that's all there is to that. Let's go through this same procedure with the 62. The download is a little bit different, but if you know how to download to shapefile, then you pretty much have the process for to get this one. So I've just plugged in a 62 GPS unit, and so while this is warming up, let's look at this table here, and you can see if we sort this burn ID field now by this burn ID here, we'll see that if we refresh this table, we can find that there's our 2898, our Frank Jones, that's in this database. And when I plug this GPS in, and it brings up the prompt to use as mass storage device, and you say yes. And so for the 62, it comes up. It's actually comes up as what appears to be an external drive, like a thumb drive or an external hard drive, and we'll go into the Garmin folder within the GPS unit, and then in this GPX folder. So this is, we've had some training guidance on this, and most all of you would know how to do this. We're going to get this this 521 tracked here. We're going to copy this to our subject folder where we had all of our CPG, and you can, make subfolders for the landowners if that's the way that you keep up with this stuff. Then in our transfer folder we have a CPG folder which already has these three, so you can multiple select, bring these in, and if we paste it here, it's going to ask me if I want to overwrite. And so I can do this, or you can have this file in here. This is our GPS file, if it wasn't already present. And then through DNR Garmin, we can load this from that GPX file. Remember, we have to change the file type, and we'll find these three files here. Remember, we didn't have to select a file through the 60. It automatically downloads the track into the DNR Garmin, but this is part of the process for the 62 unit. And see whether it's asking us we want to select the track. Yes, we do, and it should be bringing in these points. A lot of points, and so as soon as this finishes downloading these points, then we can just simply save this to a file, which is of course going to be a KML as we're working with, and we can name this, we already had the one that we just made in there, so we can name this 2900, and we can save that. It's a polygon, so we save that out, and it should have worked. Now we can use our KML upload tool to bring that in the same way we did the other one. This is our 2900 file. We can open that, and this should take us to the extent of our and so we're going to save it to this Stevens Grants layer, and we see that it appears to have worked. It should be in a red outline here. Now notice what's happened here. when we uploaded this one, we noticed that that there is an adjacent tract, a burn that's occurred in the past, because remember, this database has all of the CPG burns back to the funding year 2012, so there's over 600 burn polygons in this feature class. So there could be a situation where when you upload your tract and it comes in on the map, that you see that there's this 2998 burn here actually appears to be not only adjacent to, but overlapping this this burn a little bit. And so when that happens, you're really going to need, if you don't feel comfortable doing these edits through the interface, then you can just let us know that this is a situation. And but really, there's no reason why you couldn't perform these edits yourself through the web interface. And so in the next session, we're going to look at how to use the editor widget, is what they're called in the web mapping application, to make edits on the track. Now we already have made edits, if you realized it or not. But when we edit this information in the attributes, we're actually editing the file. So this will persist and stay along with this file. Another thing I wanted to mention is is you can add attachments to these. So if you had a photo that you wanted to associate with this burn, like a photo of the burn itself or the area or any kind of areas of concern that would have to do with this burn, then you could do that. And we'll go through that actually in the next session, along with the other editing that you may do. So we can enter some of the information here. All right. So then, so the upload is complete now. And in the next session, we're going to look at performing some editing tasks on this data. And then in the third session, we'll look at how to, if you're actually wanting to create a map with this application, which is one of the things it's designed to do. In addition to being an upload system and a viewer. So that's it for this session. Hope it was been helpful for you, and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.